Good rainy morning to you. This is Angela with Parkrose Permaculture. I'm standing in my side yard garden. I thought I would just give you an update on what I'm doing in the garden this week. So, it's been a while back. Somebody dumped this metal bed frame on my parents' property. And I could have put it out for the guy who comes by once a week and grabs scrap metal, but I thought this is a great time to follow the permaculture principle of produce no waste. And I figured I would just repurpose it into a trellis. Now, I really like blue. You can see my garden shed is also made out of free stuff, is blue. So I thought, well, this will work nicely as a trellis for my Clematis montana and a new rose that I purchased last year on clearance and have kept in a pot over the winter. It was real sad looking and I got it for 75% off. And I thought I'll do a nice trellis here, and this is a way that I don't have to put any financial output into buying a new trellis. There is no waste in the production of new materials, and I'm able to repurpose something that somebody thought they would cleverly dump on somebody else's property and turn a waste product into a resource. So what am I going to be up to? So I had this Clematis montana in here last year and I took it off the old trellis, which was much too small. In this area a little bit spiffed up. You can see it from over the fence. My next door neighbor can see this area here, and my neighbor behind me can see it when they walk up their driveway. So I thought, let's make it pretty. It's right under my kitchen window. I need to first move these blueberries, which are about 10 years old actually. And the reason is because this blueberry, well, first of all, they're in the way of these plants, but also this blueberry has really struggled. And it took me a little while to figure out why. It's because it is right next to my faucet and downhill from it. And it gets too much water and too much nutrient flushing from the soil as drainage and water from my faucet goes downhill this way. And it's really not happy here. So it produces loads of blueberries for me every year, but the foliage looks not great. It looks like it is nutrient deficient, and I know it is getting too much water. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it. And as long as I'm moving this blueberry, I'm gonna move this one, which is actually my favorite blueberry and just makes huge blueberries. So I'm gonna move them elsewhere in the garden. So before I get going on moving the rose into this spot, I need to go figure out where I'm going to put these. So in order to secure this trellis, what we have done here is use some metal posts, and they're the mid-sized ones. I want to say they're 4 feet tall. They might be 3 feet tall. And then sunk them 18 inches into the ground and then just wired the trellis to it, and it's pretty darn stable. And the reason I like this method is I don't want to pour a concrete footing. If I want to move something later, I like the option and the flexibility to change my design as my needs change and as I become a more sophisticated gardener, and maybe want to give myself the out to fix problems that I didn't know were problems when I put them in. Right? I want to give myself the out to be able to make changes. So I really like the method of sinking a metal fence post and wiring my trellis to it because I can take it out easily. I also don't really want to be pouring concrete really close to my foundation of my very old. So now that I have this wired in and it is level, I am going to go ahead and get working on removing these blueberries. And then I'll be planting my roses. Here's my progress thus far. It is raining hard, but really the best time to be transplanting plants is early in spring or late winter, if your ground is workable then. And when it is going to be raining and they will get sufficiently watered and have a good start in life. So for me, I don't mind if it's raining. I like working in the rain. I could not be a gardener in the Pacific Northwest if I didn't feel okay gardening in the rain. Here's what I've got going on so far. I've removed all of the bearded iris. I have a love-hate relationship with bearded iris. There were some here when we bought the house right along this strip, and I wanted to preserve some of the history of the house, so I thought I would keep them. And they actually do really well planted in between blueberries, and I have since collected many varieties off of Craigslist or from my mother's garden. But they were really overgrown here and I needed to pull them out to keep working on this. I have removed this blueberry, which I actually found the tag from 10 years ago. It was a Darrow blueberry. When I dug it up, blueberries have pretty delicate roots, so you want to be careful in digging them up. And I actually took a shovel in between because there was kind of a third of it was growing off this way and had its own ample kind of set of roots going this way. And I just took a shovel and split it. So it's a little bit of an unorthodox way to propagate your blueberries. But if you are digging up a blueberry, you can actually divide them. For example, here, this blueberry, if we look down at the root here, when I dig it up and look at the root ball, I could potentially split this here or here and get 2 new plants. So I'm going to see if I dig that one up, what's going to happen with that. If you look over here, I saved some Aquilegia that I will be dividing. I let them volunteer everywhere. I think they're great bee food. They're really pretty. They have a lot of genetic diversity. And I like to grow them in between my blueberries. So I saved those. And in this hole here, I think I'm going to put my clematis here. I dug it up. You can see here, I had pruned it back. Now, Clematis montana is a wonderful, wonderful, vigorous clematis that is very hardy. And it's not for every space. So if you're going to grow it against your house, you might want to check out how big it gets and how much pruning it needs. So I think I'm going to put the rose here and the clematis here and train it up this way and over the top and have the rose come up the middle and fan out. I think that's the look I'm going to go for. Alrighty, well, I am completely soaked to the bone and freezing cold, but I think I have this bed just about finished. So here you can see I have put the clematis on the edge and it is going to be trailing up here and up and over the top. Clematis, or if you prefer to say clematis, really like to have their roots planted not too deep. So it's planted up here with the roots spread out really well. But then they need their roots in full shade, either in the shade of a structure or mulched deeply. So here they're mulched really well. And they're also in the shade of my hose caddy, which should help them somewhat. Underneath, I have planted the Aquilegia, lots of them. And then I've divided the iris, and you can see I've put back some of them. I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of them. Probably put them around the garden or list them in the free cycle group. I've also put a number of violet starts. I've spoken in the past about how I love violets as ground cover, and they will spread and fill in this area. Here is the New Dawn Rose, which I have centered on the trellis, and I will be training it up into a fan along these rungs. So thanks for watching me redo this bed. I'm gonna go throw on dry clothes and have a cup of tea. And then I'll probably be back out to finish transplanting those blueberries, which are currently soaking in a bucket of water. So thank you for watching. Stay dry, stay warm. I'll be back.